Good evening, welcome to Conversations with Kenny. I am your host, Kenny Barrett on the Blue Shift Podcast. Today's guest is Carlito, aka Drinks on Lito, aka the DMV meme gon' Lito. What's going on?
What's going on, bro?
Listen, Lito, tell the people your backstory.
So, in regard to what, like promotion or just me in general?
That's the beginning. How do we get into the promotion world first?
Oh shit! So like, I got into promotion around about 2007. And it was back when love was it was dream love, whatever you call it. I used to pass out flyers, and so that was like how I got started, passing out flyers. But then I realized after a couple weeks it wasn't for me, so I stopped. So I stopped, and then me and my homeboy DJ Prime started doing parties at this place called Station 9 on U Street. This was like back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, there used to be a restaurant, and so we used to throw parties on U Street, and then we got connected with what's it called? Talk of DC, which was like Nate Enzo, and matter of fact, what's his name? DJ KI.
Okay.
Me and KI, I knew KI from back then too.
Good
DJ Golden Boy from down Miami, him and Anton Alexander and all them used to do the parties with us there. So that's how I got really into it.
So before you got into the passing out the flyers and you realized that wasn't for you, what made you say, okay, I want to dive into this party world just to see what it has to offer in the first place?
So it wasn't me, it was my boy DJ Prime. He was a DJ,
okay.
Or he's a DJ, and so essentially he was like, asked to do like a couple parties at Station 9. So he asked me to come with him to kind of help him out, and so I would go with him, help him set up the equipment, and then I started kind of like vibing with the parties and stuff, so I was like, oh, this shit kind of fun. And so once I realized it was getting more fun, he started asking me to take pictures. He had a camera.
Okay.
So he asked me to start taking pictures. So that's how I really got started in the club game as, being a photographer. I started taking pictures at Station 9, and then it drew me on to start working with a guy you're probably not familiar with, Shy Magazine. Shy was like the biggest club photographer in DC.
Listen, they say DC is known for its nightlife. They say some of the best parties on the East Coast.
Yeah, so Shy was like the biggest photographer out here, and so he got me connected with doing like different little parties here and there. And my first party outside of Station 9 was at Stir Lounge.
Oh wow!
Oscar, one of the owners of Rose Bar, he used to be the man who ran everything over Stir.
Okay.
And it was Ray and Dave and Ray who basically was their party.
Was the competition as tough back then as it is now in the city for parties?
What you mean as far as like parties?
As far as, let's say...
Nah, because back then you had the heavy hitters. Yeah, back then you had the real big heavy hitters as far as the promotion groups. Even now, like the same promotion groups back then are most of the same promotion groups now. So you had the Dave and Rays, the Wayne and Tonys, the DT Nation. They used to be called DT Nation.
Some heavy hitters. I mean, DC is known for his parties.
Yeah, so you had like the real big heavy hitters back in the day. That when I first started, that's who I used to like work with.
Okay.
So
how have you seen the game as far as the nightlife and the party game change since you originally got started in this business?
It's changed a lot because back in the day, parties were like who's who. Like it was like you had to know somebody to get in, or you was gonna pay, or you was gonna really pay a grip to get in the party. You know what I mean? Back in the day, when you, for example, let's use Love for example. Love lines used to be wrapped down New York Avenue.
Listen, I just stood in those lines a couple Saturdays.
Exactly, yeah. And if you ever been to Love on a Howard Homecoming, then you know. Yeah, you know what type of shit that DC is on when it comes to the party scene. And to be honest with you, like Mark Barnes is the reason why that DC party scene just catapulted to what it is now, because most of all the promoters worked with him at some point in time, and he kind of like basically showed us the blueprint on how to make this shit successful.
And how to win. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. Since I've been hanging out in DC and partying, it's always been an amazing time. Yeah. I think the atmosphere is different. Like I've partied in a lot of different cities, but I just think that it's a certain dynamic and fun that you get when you come to DC. The one thing I am curious about is in this generation now, you don't really see people dancing with females in the club anymore. What's your opinion on that? How the dynamic has changed in the last 10, 15 years since you've been in the nightlife?
I mean, a lot of it is the cool factor though, because you gotta remember, even back in the day was a fashion show. people still was dressing fresh and, you know, whatever the case may be. The difference is, back in the day, females kind of forced their way upon dancing on you. Like, you would get on a dance floor and a random female would just jump on your joint and start backing it up, and you ain't really have much of a choice. Nowadays it's different. Like, now you got the females are more on the fashion show than the men. And so, like, now the females, they want to sit at the couches, they want to, you know, be seen and look good without getting their outfit dirty or sweating or anything like that. So it's definitely changed. And then you got to remember, we're the new generation now.
Definitely is.
This generation is driven more on social media. Back then, even though social media was still around, we didn't have our phones to where that we could be posting on social media about stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't have all that. You had Facebook that and what's it, MySpace? You had Facebook and MySpace.
Throwback.
Yeah, but back then it wasn't one of those things where you had the app on your phone to be able to really post on it. So now it's different.
And it was crazy because I felt like back then it wasn't a problem being in the club to be sweaty. Like, if you knew you had a good night if you were sweating in the club.
Yeah, but Caribbean people know. They know how to sweat. Like, they don't play no games when it comes to parties. If you ever go overseas, anywhere to any Caribbean country, man, like, ain't no standing up against the wall, holding up the wall, man. Everybody's getting that.
100% right. You're 100% right. It's just, I remember DC and being known for the Love Club because it was just like a mega club, and then you just looked up, and next thing you just seen a bunch of smaller clubs.
Yeah, but so back then you had just more than Love. You know what I mean? You had H2O. H2O was like the second version of, you know, not second version, but it was like the competition to Love. But it was different because you would have certain nights where you would go to Love, and then certain nights you would only go to H2O. Whereas though now it's so much competition because there's so many different promoters and, you know, restaurant owners and it's turning into clubs now. So like, you got like a regular like lounge that was never known for clubbing. Now they turn into a nightclub because they try to make that nightclub money.
And I would say, do you think the venues that turn from a restaurant to a nightclub have success and longevity in the business?
Because people like that close, intricate feel of being around each other. Like, for example, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Josephine's or...
I wasn't in DC around those times.
Okay, so Josephine's used to have what they call a pit. And inside the pit, it's a big square where you're all facing each other.
Okay.
So everybody had to be in that pit because if you wanted to see somebody, you had to be in that pit.
Wow.
So that's how that's how these smaller lounges are kind of like, they're winning because they're smaller, so they can pack so many people in there, so you have no choice but to see somebody.
And that's what's crazy because it's like when you're in a club now, it's definitely a light show, it's definitely a fashion show, and it's a who's who.
Think about Rose Bar on that deck, in that middle part where them tables are.
You ain't on the stage.
Who doesn't want to be over there? Like, that's where I've been a promoter since 2008 roughly, and I gotta be inside that area.
That's crazy.
Because at the end of the day, like, that's where it is. That's where you're gonna see everybody.
And it's just, people don't understand, like, it's just a different feel when you in the atmosphere, you in the energy. That DC nightlife can be addicting. It can be addicting. What would you say to someone who wants to get into the nightlife now, that's young, that doesn't really know the backstory to the DC nightlife?
I mean, to be honest with you, to get into the nightlife takes some time, like me, because if you think about it, a lot of the promoters that was around in 2007, 2008 are still here. You know what I mean? And so, and they're the mainline promoters for a lot of the parties as far as their group is concerned. The name of the group is what I mean. But, you know, so you would have to, in order for you to kind of like draw people to a party, you gotta have something appealing for them to come to the party.
That's very true.
You know what I mean? Whether it's a host, whether it's, you know, females, whether it's a dope venue that no one's been to, that you know they want to go to, or some form of incentive, like, you know, the whole, you know, free before 11 thing, kind of, people be like, all right, cool, but people still do it though.
So then my question is, with the free before 11 promotional tactic, how have you seen that work, and has there been a downside to people coming in before 11?
It's never a downside because you want people to come in before 11, you know what I mean? But it's very effective because you have so many people in the city that either come to the city to visit, first move to the city who don't know nobody, Or you have people who have just never been in touch, who've lived here forever, but haven't been in touch with the nightlife, to where as though when they want to go somewhere for once, they gotta, get on that guest list.
You know what's crazy? It's crazy that you bring that up, because I never really thought about the people who don't really hang out on a regular basis, and they get into the club before 11 just to see and get a vibe of what's going on. That's a major key right there.
Yeah, because you think about it, most of the time when it's free before 11, it's open bar for an hour.
Very true.
You get them free drinks, whether it's real or not. And now clubs are kind of doing premium open bars, to where as though now you get the Ciroc. Yeah, you get
that's a game changer.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And for people that are introverts, them going out for like an hour or two before the club gets real packed, that's a good move for them. Definitely. They like that because they can get back home before it get too packed.
Let's transition into let's say the hosting aspect of the party planning. Okay. How is that process when it goes to booking either top tier hosts or booking top tier hosts, and how are they in relation to how people see them on social media?
Okay, so to give you like a perfect example, when I can go to Cardi. When Cardi first started out, she hosted Opera Tuesdays. Okay. And what happened was I reached out to her manager, or I reached out to her on Instagram. And reached out to her on Instagram, I got a reply back. Obviously probably one Cardi was her manager, so, set it up, he gave us a price. And so when Cardi got down here, Cardi, at that time, Cardi was a big Instagram person. Like, she was big on IG.
She definitely had
she was still making the IG videos in her car and everything like that. And Cardi is actually who you see on Instagram. Like, there ain't no,
like that.
Let me tell you something. There ain't no sugarcoating Cardi. When I tell you that the person you see on Instagram is the person she is when the camera ain't around, she is the exact same person. She loves her fans. She tries to take a picture with every single fan. She's the only celebrity that has security that still tries to get into the middle of a crowd just to be who she is. Like,
that's dope.
And so
that's super dope.
So when you book in hosts, you try to look for the hosts that are going to be appealing to whatever crowd that you have at whatever party you have. And so, when you book in mainline hosts like a Cardi, no matter what club you have, people are going to come because it's Cardi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you get like a rapper from like Texas that's dope, has a good Instagram following, but ain't really known out here, he might only appeal to a certain club, to a certain crowd, because most people may not know who he is. And so, people may be interested to see, who is this dude? But a lot of people, if they sitting at home and they drinking their wine, it'd be like, nah, I'm cool. Unless it's a mainline host.
So out of all the hosts that you've booked in your time in the nightlife, which one has been your favorite host besides Cardi B?
Lauryn Hill.
Lauryn Hill.
Either Lauryn Hill or, and I know you're just going to sound crazy, but Trinidad James. And I'm going to tell you why. Lauryn Hill came here.
You got to take us back to that night, because Lauryn Hill was crazy.
Yeah, Lauryn Hill came here on the night it was snowing. We had booked Lauryn Hill, and it was going to be crazy, but it ended up snowing. Even though it snowed, it was a dope-ass party. She got on the mic. She did a little concert. I think I still got the video uploaded on my Instagram of her singing at opera that night.
That's fire.
And then with Trinidad James, his song his song that he had just finally like hit the streets or whatever, hit mainstream.
Gold everything, something like that.
Slim got the mic. My man got the mic and was walking through opera. Had everyone. Opera was so packed that night. He was walking through the fucking crowd. Just going, had the shirt off, everything, man. Slim was going at it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was. I would say them two were the best as far as. Then you gotta say Travis Scott, because.
About to say
Travis Scott showed off.
Not see Travis Scott.
Yeah, Travis Scott showed off too. But these are my parties. I've been to other parties where the hosts have been crazy too. Like, other promoters that, book hosts for their parties where the party's been just as crazy. But speaking from my, the parties that I do with my team, Dave and Ray, like those are the best hosts out there.
Is there ever a time where there's like some type of form of competition between the promoters, like who wants to be the top promoter, or who has the pop in this party? Like
I just think that's an ego. I think that's an ego-driven thing with anybody, whether it's promotion or even with podcasts. It's the same thing. Like at the end of the day, you want the best party. You want to show people out here that you throw the best parties because you want people to appeal more to your parties than they do someone else's. But it should never be a situation where you're not telling people to go to another party because their party's whack. Like we don't hate on each other. It's just more so like a situation where we because we're in competition with each other, we're still friends with each other, but we still believe our party's better than theirs only because it's our party. But those still our guys. We ain't doing no behind the lines like, oh fuck them niggas. No, we don't do all that shit, man. That's just we too old for that shit, man.
Okay, one thing that I've noticed in the last couple years, as far as the DC nightlife goes, is the transition into the brunch/day party.
Oh yeah, the brunch parties have really. But I will say this: the day party situation really, to me, in my opinion, came on the scene with Rose Bar Mondays, Rose Bar Day Party, Rose Bar Day, but. What's it called? Ozios and Rose Bar kind of like really came into fruition on the day party scene.
Okay.
Then when it came to the brunch situation, that's when Griffin kind of came into play. And Ryan and them over there, they really kind of like blew up, with the whole brunch / day party. And then Park just
came out of nowhere.
Park's brunch day party, like just. I mean, you can't really. It's just crazy.
What is in your years of being in DC and hanging out? What is your most fun brunch or day party experience?
I would say, well, I've had good experiences at Rose Bar day parties. Back in the day when they was like, I'm talking about when it was crazy packed, like you couldn't get on the patio pack. Griffin, I've had when Cardi B hosted Griffin. That shit was like, I mean, it was crazy. And even with like Park, the reason for me the Park vibe to me is a lot better is because I'm older now.
Okay.
And Park still caters to all
demographics
and all demographics. So like for me, I'm more chill now.
Okay.
But when the day party start, but when the day party start, it's like you got that turn up feeling now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when you at brunch, it's like you can be sitting there chilling. Somebody just jump up, start twerking because the music crazy and they having a good old time. So, I mean, it just all depends, man. It depends on what you like in a day party and brunch because Park can be turned up on a brunch. It can be crazy on a brunch and it can be mellow some days. You know what I mean? It just all depends.
I think that's the one thing I love about DC is the diversity that the city brings and the energy is just it's unmatched. Yeah, the diversity in DC is to me unmatched from any other city that I've ever been to regarding the party scene. Yes, LA, don't get me wrong, I love Miami, Miami's cool. New York, I've been to New York. I've been to a lot of different cities where the club scene is like, it's crazy, but it's not like DC. Like, it's almost like DC, they have to prove a point to be on number one in the club scene. Like it's almost like even with the women, dog. Like Miami, you go to Miami, it's all kinds of beautiful women everywhere. But it's like in DC, it's like these women live here. Like them women in Miami just come there. They don't live there. But in DC, these women live here and they just come to the club looking. Oh man, I mean, all the time. It's a fashion show, like you said before. Man, it's definitely a fashion show in DC and then the DMV.
That's why it's hard to settle down because shit, these women in DC, man, they be up in their game because they be getting jealous about seeing other joints on Instagram, so they be up in their game up.
Do you think it's hard to find love? Do you think it's hard to find love in a club? Because that's one of the biggest topics in the world.
No, definitely not. My ex, me and her dated for roughly 3-4 years, something like that. And I met her in the club. And me and her relationship only ended because, we just didn't have that same feeling we once had for each other. It was nothing bad. We didn't have no effed up relationship or anything like that. It's just things kind of got to a point where, we didn't catch it when it was turning downward. And so, but me and her are still best friends to this day. We still talk to this day.
That's super dope, Lito. Super.
Yeah, we still talk to this day. So, at the end of the day, it's not hard finding love, but people just don't trust enough because the club scene is the club scene, and it's not just DC. It's everywhere, bro.
They say the nightlife is undefeated in DC, and I just be like, it's harsh. It's harsh out there.
Yeah, it's hard,
streets.
man. But you know, it's all about who you are as a person internally. Because at the end of the day, we all have the power to be who we want to be, or you know, be the type of man or woman that we want to be. But you know, when you're younger, like man, I can't tell you how terrible I was in my early 20s and mid 20s, bro. Like, you couldn't get me to settle down with nobody back then because I was so busy seeing one bad chick out of the other that because when I was when I was younger, I didn't really have it like that. You know what I mean? I was attractive, but I wasn't club attractive. There's a difference. I keep trying to tell people there's a big difference. Club, being regularly attractive and being club attractive is two different things because you can be you could be an okay dude to, you know, your people around the way, they know you around the way. But when you become that man in the club,
it's different. Why is it so addictive though?
Because your swag changes. It's like a celebrity. Think about it. Like, you see these celebrity dudes and you think to yourself, damn, how did he get that joint? But it's the same. Like, look at Jay-Z and Beyonce. Always a perfect example. Jay-Z ain't the most attractive dude in the world. But Jay-Z his swag is beyond anybody's swag out here.
He's from Brooklyn.
And his business ethic, he takes his life serious. You know what I mean? Like, that man he's what Beyonce would look at in her future as opposed to some dude that she just want to have a little entanglement with, you know, right then and there.
You know, entanglement right now really is the buzzword because of, things that's going on in other people's lives. We're not going to dive all the way in that because this is not the place for the gossip. This is definitely not that. But the piggyback on the nightlife. So I see that everything's been shut down in the DMV and on the East Coast because of this COVID crisis that we got going on. I see that you pivoted to not drinks on Lido no more, but chefing with Lido. How has that experience been for you so far?
So I really got into cooking when my ex went to Kuwait and I ain't had nobody here to cook. So I I come from a family where everyone cooks anyway. I grew up with all my cousins, my mom and my grandmother and my aunts and them, my uncles, they all cook. But I never really took a liking into it until she left for Kuwait. And then at that point in time, I started thinking to myself, like, man, I got to start making my own food. So then when I started doing it, it became real therapeutic. It was like almost like it was almost like therapy for me. Like, I would go in the kitchen and start cooking and it relaxed my mind. You know what I mean? So now it's like, now I'm trying to take cooking to another level where I have a career. However, I want to be able to do this beyond my career. I want to be able.
That's super dope.
I don't want to be a chef in a restaurant per se. At least not right now. That's not my train of thought. But I do want to do like private events, private parties, maybe even be a private chef.
Yeah, that's fine.
For people at times. You know what I mean? So
what's your favorite meal to cook?
Oh man, shoot, you got me stuck on that one. My favorite meal to cook is probably lobster risotto.
That sounds good. That sounds
lobster
good.
Risotto. Yeah, that would probably be my favorite to cook.
So in the last 30 days, how many times have you cooked that one?
Not in the last 3 days. Nah, I've been switching up, man. Listen, I've been working on sushi now. I've been doing sushi for like the last month and a half now. Listen. And I finally got that. And I finally got it to a point where that shit actually looks like it come from the store.
It was crazy is people don't realize how healthy sushi truly is for you.
Yeah, and it depends. I mean, on what sushi, because eating raw food is never considered healthy. Yeah. It's never. I mean, because you're consuming raw meat. You know what I mean. So it's never considered healthy. However, I personally have tried raw sushi. Never been my thing. Most of the sushi I do cook is cooked sushi. But I mean, to each his own. I can do both now. So
that's dope. That's super dope. So what are the things that you want to accomplish from this cooking? What are some of the things that you see yourself accomplishing since you've been in this cooking field going forward? So you said you potentially would like to do private cooking. Could you see yourself owning a restaurant?
I mean, I get asked a lot about opening a restaurant. Could I see myself owning one? Not really, because I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not really the business type person. Okay. That's why I've never been like that whole entrepreneur, go out and own your own business type. I work for the government, so I've been okay with that because I've been able to achieve a lot of things with doing that. But it's not something that I don't think about, because at the end of the day, I would say, it's an option, but I would rather be a private chef, a traveling chef. I do, once this thing opened up, I do want to travel a lot to different countries and learn their cultures on how they cook and things like that. And kind of like I watch a lot of Gordon Ramsay, man. He travels to a lot of different countries. He gets out there in the trenches.
Touches the people.
Yeah, man. I want to be able to do that, But to be honest with my inspiration was my boy, I don't know if you know him, but Nate Hopkins. He cooks a lot. I don't know if he classifies himself as a chef yet, but he's a damn chef to me. But he was my inspiration as far as cooking, because I would see him cooking so much on Instagram and watching this dude, man. He takes so much pride in how he cooks.
I think that
it got me going, man.
I think that was the perfect transition for you, because going from the nightlife to going into cooking, it's not even like you made a drastic change. You just put yourself in a better vehicle that was speaking to you, what your needs were at the time.
Well, the nightlife don't last forever, as far as
you know what's crazy? I always wondered that. Like,
it don't last forever, man.
What is the lifespan of the average promoter?
Man, it depends, because us in DC, we've all been promoting for years. I mean, all of us. Unique Society, Wayne and Tony, David Ray, DC Nation, A1, like we've all been around for years. Like I've known most of these promoters in upwards of 10 to 12 years.
That's great.
If not longer. I've met Wayne and Tony and them back in the Love days, when they were I forgot what their group was called, but they had a little group with all the little young promoter dudes that was out here getting it.
Doing their thing.
Yeah, man, they was doing their thing, man. But at the end of the day, man, we all kind of been around each other for years, man. We came up in this club scene. Even with the DJs, man, a lot of DJs are newer to the scene now compared to being around for 10, 12 years. A lot of the older DJs aren't in the clubs anymore. At least the mainline parties, they're not.
It's super dope to see the camaraderie against young black professionals in this particular profession or industry, what we would call the nightlife in DC. I think it's just super amazing.
Yeah.
That you guys have had so much success in the time that you guys have been invested in.
It ain't been perfect. I'll tell you that much, but it ain't been perfect. But I will say this: even though it hasn't been perfect, the reality of it is that we know that it's still a business. You know what I mean?
True.
Like there's always going to be issues in business. You're always going to have, because when you're building friendships and you're doing business together, it kind of creates a line. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and you have to be able to draw that line at a certain point where you don't end your friendship, but still keep your friendship and still have your business together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have our ups and downs just like anybody else in any business, but I feel like I told Big Mo the other day, man, we stronger together, man. Like when we do stuff together in DC, no city can touch us, bro.
That was my next question. I was gonna say, as long as you've been in the nightlife, what is the worst experience that you had that you was just like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this promotion thing. It's just, I don't know.
Well, it was when I stopped having a passion for photography. I really woke up one day and just didn't have a passion for taking pictures in the club no more. And at that point in time, arguably, because I say arguably because somebody else might have a different opinion, I thought I was the best in the game. You know what I mean? At the time that I decided to step down, but me and Anwar were together doing the picture thing, and he was my brother, but competition at the same time. And
competition.
Even though he says he's the best, I say I'm the best. We agree to disagree as brothers, because at that point in time for me, it wasn't fun no more. It just got to a point where I would walk in the club and I had no interest in taking the pictures anymore. And luckily for me, the relationships I built, it enabled me to continue working with my brother Ray. As a promoter, he brought me on as a promoter, and ever since then, I've been doing the promotion thing, and it's been our parties that you've been our parties. You see what we do,
It's nothing like an Opera Saturdays.
Yeah,
never
man.
been
Opera Saturdays nice, man.
Do Opera Saturdays.
Yeah, the Opera Saturdays and that Rose Bar Monday and that brunch, man. Look, man.
Listen, guys. If we ever in DC, I definitely recommend you do either a park brunch, an Opera Saturday, or a Rose Bar Monday. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah, you gotta do either one of those.
How do you see the city rebounding post what's going on right now in today's economy?
Well, it depends. If the clubs are able to withstand the economic factor of being able to stay open. I know the mayor's helped out a lot of the clubs as far as being able to help them with the rent relief and stuff like that, which is good, because DC nightlife I mean, makes up for, I think, what, 30% of like.
I seen they do something like $1 billion a year. I was flabbergasted.
Yeah, they make up for like 30% of the district's, economic growth. Like, it's crazy what DC Nightlife does, and that's what shows how DC is so important to. I mean, the DC Nightlife is so important to the district because at the end of the day, we need this. This is a money making industry out here, and I feel like the only way it's going to be able to rebound is we're going to have to all stick together. You know, the club owners, the promoters, even the patrons are all going to have to stick together and get DC Nightlife back to where it was. Because when the clubs start opening back up, man, we got to fill them tables up.
Listen, man. DC is nothing like it.
Yeah, we got to fill them tables. But I think in the overall, it'll be beneficial. I do think that it will rebound properly. I do think that it will be able to, get back to what it used to be, if not better. And, we're going to try our best to work to get to that point. And hopefully, man, if Trump start acting right, close this damn place down for like a month so we can get these damn cases gone and get back out there, man.
Okay, so listen, let's segue to the social media fame. Because right now, you're the DMV meme god. Yeah. So listen, where does the inspiration come for the memes that you create? Because I know it draws so much attention.
Yeah, man. So it's crazy because I used to post, and I know this is a contradiction to my Instagram now, Drinks on Lido, by the way, but I used to post like relationship memes.
Really?
Like back in the day, yeah, when I didn't have the Drinks on Lido name or anything like that. It was like Facebook, and then my other Instagram used to be Carlitos Way DC. I can't remember what the hell it was, or DC Lido, one of them. Anyway, I used to post relationship stuff, and then one day I started posting like some like real funny memes, and it would get more appeal than the relationship memes.
Okay.
So I started posting more and more, and gradually, once I started my Drinks on Lido page, I got to a point where I was like, man, people like this shit, and then people would come in my DMs every day like, yo, when I wake up in the morning, you're the first page I go to because I need a laugh in the morning.
That's crazy.
And women, it's so funny. Guys are going to hate I say this, but women hit me up all the time like, yo, my boyfriend had pissed me off, and I come to your page just to make myself laugh to get over, this nigga pissing me off. And to me, it's like, it's good because I'm like, at least I can help you not go crazy or, do some crazy shit. You just laugh off the pain, you know what I mean? And so even though the memes are offensive to a lot of people, I want people to know that I don't care. It's for fun. It's for humor. It's for jokes. If a meme offends you, you can unfollow me. You can block me. Do whatever you gotta do. But at the end of the day, one day you'll come right back to my page because you're gonna need to laugh.
With the attention that the memes garner, and I know your DMs is popping right now.
Yeah.
Because you just mentioned that they hit in your DMs and say, listen, you brighten up my day with these memes.
Yeah, nah, they
so
pop.
it's like,
definitely.
I see that a lot of people tend to steal your memes.
Well, no, that's a misconception. We all take memes from the internet. Like, a lot of memes I take from other people. People, when I make my own memes, they take from me. Like, it's part of the meme culture. Before, memers used to get upset when you would take their meme and post it without giving them credit. Nowadays, it got to a point where they know it's going to happen. So you can't really do nothing about it. And so it's not nothing to get mad at, because what happened was memers used to build their growth off of people come to their page, so people follow them. Nowadays, if your page is on private, people come to your page every day, but they don't follow you.
Very
you know
true.
what I mean? But they come to your page every day. So I got like almost 9,000 followers, but I get 3,000 to 4,000 people looking at just one story post. Which means that it's so many more people that are coming to my page who don't follow me, looking at my story post, but they won't follow me. And it's okay. I'm cool with that. That's the reason I leave my page on private. But at the end of the day, it's just, I post this stuff for entertainment. Listen, I'm telling y'all now, I take your shit. I don't give a fuck who you are. I take your memes. Y'all take my shit too. We even exchange.
Even exchange in the meme world. Listen, social media is crazy to how when you look at when you guys first got started in the nightlife to now, and the influence of social media. Do you think that the influence of social media has affected the nightlife in a positive way, or it just made it watered it down a little bit?
Nah, it affected it in a positive way because it brings money, more attraction to your party. The more people know about it and they make a decision to come to your party, because you got to think about it. When you sitting at home, 8 o'clock p.m. on a Friday, and all of a sudden your girl call you and they say let's go do something, but they don't know what to do. Where's the first place they look?
The club.
Social media though.
Yeah,
they go to social media to see what's popping, or they call somebody who knows what's popping. So social media is a benefit tool, but I will say this: people do get tired of the posting of the flyers and stuff like that. You know what I mean? The consistent posting of just flyers. People they get tired of seeing that shit. It's almost like when back in the day when we used to put flyers on people's cars.
Oh, listen, I used to hate that.
People used to hate, especially when it rained and stick to your windshield.
Oh, I used to hate that.
Oh yeah, people used to be mad as shit.
Oh my god, I used to grind my
gears. People used to be mad as shit, bro, back in the day. But it's the same thing now. Like people unfollow you more now when you're just posting club flyers.
True.
You know what I mean? And that's all your page is kind of geared towards. Your loyal followers are gonna stay there. But most people, who just hate the club flyers, they either mute you now or just unfollow.
Listen, they say social media is the new party.
It is, but that's what's going to change now. People going to start doing these little social media live broadcast parties, even when COVID's over with. They still going to do this.
I definitely think the game has definitely changed.
COVID has brought, even though COVID has taken so many lives and everything like that, it has brought some things that are going to go into the future and make money for a lot of people in the future as well.
Definitely would agree.
But that's no excuse for the fact that it should have never came and it's taking people's lives and people continue to die from it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day,
I will say the one thing I've learned that in every obstacle there is a blessing. We just have to look for it. So with COVID, the COVID, the coronavirus, it's like we've had to pivot to find other ways to be successful, to utilize our platform.
But these are good times to do that. If you ever had an idea in your life, this was the time to get it done or work on it, so that when it's over, you can get it done. These are the times right now when you sitting in the house and you ain't got nothing else to do, to start thinking about ideas on how to make more money, how to become more successful. Get your credit and anything that you had before together right now. And granted, everyone doesn't have the opportunity because they may have lost their jobs, things like that, financial hardships and stuff like that. So we all understand that. However, for people that do, and even if you don't, you can still come up with those ideas. So when it's over with and you do have that opportunity, you can take advantage of it. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
These are times right now where people need to turn off the TV and open their minds up to different things where they can make different sources of income. Start looking at more people's Instagram and see what they doing that you not doing, and capitalize off of something that they doing.
Super dope. Listen, Lito, so this is the time of the podcast where I like to call this the final four.
Okay.
So I'm gonna mention 4 terms. I just want you to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the term.
Okay.
The first one is believe.
Well, believe in yourself. I mean, that's the first thing you have to do, is be able to believe in yourself, believe in who you are, believe that you can achieve anything. Don't allow anyone or anything to tell you that you can not achieve whatever goal it is that you want to achieve.
Okay, the second term is learn.
Learn from your mistakes. That's the biggest thing I tell people all the time. The best way to mature is to learn from the mistakes you make. I don't like people who say, people, shouldn't make mistakes, or they make too many mistakes. Mistakes is how you learn and how you get better in life. You're going to continue to make mistakes in order to make you a stronger person.
Very dope. The next term is understand.
Understand that you can do whatever it is you want to do, as long as you have the enthusiasm to do it. It ain't got nothing to do with having the money and the financial backing, none of that. If you have an idea, you can achieve that idea if you find ways to work on whatever it is you want to work on, or do whatever it is you want to do.
That's super dope. The final term is educate.
Educate yourself daily. Read a lot. Turn off the TV. Put your phone down. A lot of education comes from reading. One thing that I've learned now is meditation has helped me, in my path to be able to learn things that I never knew before. It helps me sit there for an hour a day, turn the TV off, turn the lights off, and just think about certain things, educate myself on things that I was not, educated about, either when I was younger or even now as a grown man. You know what I mean? This is the time, especially during this COVID, it's time to educate ourselves, especially with voting. I want to touch on that because this is the most important election of our history, and I know there's so many people who don't believe in Biden, and that's fine. However, most of y'all don't believe in Biden because you're listening to what you hear on social media instead of doing your own education, doing your own research. Getting out and vote and getting this man into office is the most important thing that we can do right now. I understand that we need a lot of different changes for the African American culture. But at the same time, those changes ain't gonna happen with 4 years of Trump. I'd rather take my chance with 4 years of Biden than 4 years of Trump, where we're gonna go right back another 4 years. So educate yourself on your voting rights, educate yourself on anything you ever want to learn about, and that's all I got to say.
Listen, thank you, Lito. With the jewels you just shared, hopefully they'll make a shift in the next generation, the next person's life. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Conversations with Kenny. Tune in next week. Can't wait till y'all see what the next guest is going to be. Thank you, Carlito, for your time tonight.
No doubt,
Good afternoon, baby.
All it is. My dog. Yeah, that was dope, bro. That was dope. I like that.